Hello everyone, Philosopher Stoner 666 here. I know it's been a long time since I've made a video, and I've said that before in my other videos too. I'm like a broken record, but it's just life, shit getting in the way, all that junk and such, and yeah, you sort of reach a point where you don't really know what to say anymore, or what topics are relevant, or even think that people really care or even listening. And in my case, they're probably not. I'm surprised. I look back at some of my videos. I haven't paid any attention to this channel, just almost like completely ignored it. And I'm looking at some of my old videos, like my wine making video got 1,000 views. And I'm like, really? 1,000 views on my stupid channel? I never expected any of that. I sort of was doing this almost kind of like a little mini wank, like not literally a wank, but thinking to myself, I just sort of want to vlog, have my own little diary, a little personal record from myself, and putting it out on the internet. It's like I talk to myself all the time by myself, just doing my job or doing whatever. Of course, when no one's around, it's not when other people are around, but just, talking to myself or thinking all these thoughts, all these obnoxious thoughts that I have, because I don't have really, very few friends to really talk to. I do have a couple of friends, but, kind of like a journal, right? And so I'm very surprised and pleasantly pleased. I intend to make some more, maybe growing marijuana videos or growing magic mushroom videos or something like that, but that's in the works. That's coming, folks. So watch out. And this fucking camera is doing this weird thing where it's like switching the color. It's like the lighting in here is fucked, where it's like really bright. And now it's gone back to the normal color. Oh, and then it's gone back to the weird, stupid yellowy shit color. And I've already yapped for 2 minutes and 17 seconds and fucking haven't even got to what I wanted to talk about. And, holy shit. I don't even know what the fuck I want to talk about. Well, let me see. I was thinking of the subject of that guy that ran over all those people near the Eaton Centre in Toronto. And I'm living in a place, I'm not saying where, but fairly close to Toronto. It's not Toronto proper, but and that's sort of that. I am in that neck of the woods, and the whole debate, the feminism, the incels, the involuntary celibates, and all that sort of stuff. And it got me thinking. My views on the subject are kind of complicated. So I'm in agreement with others that have said, in terms of theoretically, we came from tribal hunter-gatherer societies in our prehistory, in our 20,000 years of evolution. And so attractiveness, we're like, for male-female attractiveness, I mean, we're like pack animals. So we follow what's, this thinker, he is called Vox. I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Vox. And he wrote this treatise about hierarchies, how we follow like a pack structure. So you have the alpha male, then you have the beta males, and you have these other males. You have sigma males and gamma males, but they're not really, there's all these different categories. And, don't want to spend all day nerding it up about those in particular, but, right, you have alpha and beta are the main ones. And betas are, more submissive. They'll maybe be lucky and they'll get one mate, whereas the alpha male is like the boss, the leader. He gets all the women. He spreads the seeds. And that at a biological level, between the sexes, the woman has the higher innate biological value because she's the incubator. She carries the baby to term. And the male is a lesser value. Biologically, we're more disposable. I even see this in marijuana cultivation, that you don't want male plants. You want female plants. You want horny female plants, and that's good weed. You smoke that shit. And so when I get a crop, kill off the male plants. And so it's like that. It applies to most other animal species are like this. The male are fundamentally disposable, and it's something we don't acknowledge. So anyway, so you have this combined with that innate male disposability, you have the alpha and beta male problem, right? So a select few males, alpha males, and again, alpha is not necessarily a guy like Donald Trump, say that's a leader, CEO, politician, whatever. Alpha male is more of a set of psychological, social features, social proof, social status, ability to have leadership perhaps, but an alpha male could be a janitor, hypothetically. It's possible in today's civilization with everything being so dysfunctional. Anyways, women are attracted to that, but there's a scarcity of alpha males, so they have to settle for a beta male. And that's what's creating the problem. You have a surplus of beta males that are biologically redundant, so to speak, that can't get their sexual gratification and their sexual satisfaction. And that's what causes the problem. Fundamentally, it's not a feminist problem, it's a male problem. Men are causing the problem. Just because it's patriarchy, though, if it is a patriarchy, it doesn't mean it's beneficial for men. Again, a lot of beta males have created civilization. There's a book, Mining and Prostitution, and so you have basically what's made civilization is the beta male. So beta males were willing to do jobs like coal miner, janitor, very high risk, low reward, low social status, and so essentially they can't get laid, they can't even get married, and so they revert to prostitution. And every civilization in our history has had some sort of, traditionally, some sort of arranged marriage system, and coalitions of beta males getting together and creating these arranged marriages and all this shit, like Islam's classic example, the Hindus in India, all that. That's, you know, where it's fundamentally been in the West up until maybe 40 years ago. And so, again, the feminists are right. Again, it's toxic masculinity, simply because there's too men, simply because of our disposability. There's too many of us. It's too competitive. It's too toxic. But the women will never fess up and admit or acknowledge the beta male problem. They don't want to admit that what they consider sexual harassment, they don't view as sexual harassment when it comes from what they perceive as the alpha male. When it's coming from a beta male, it's sexual harassment. Anyway, I'm veering off topic a bit. I'm going off on little tangents, but yeah, all of this is only a tragedy if you're part of the natalist Borg cube. Right, so it's essentially when a woman's rejecting a beta male, she's sort of saying to him, I don't think your genetic material is worthy enough of perpetuating, and your genes and your likeness will not live on into the future. I mean, that's a terrible thing. Like I said, if you care about all this natalist propaganda that you have to meet the woman, and you have to get married, and you have to have children, and you have to do all this stuff, if you take all that stuff seriously. Unfortunately, I've accepted, well, I don't want to do any of that. I'm anti-natalist, right? So none of that matters to me. But I guess, yeah, kind of on the fence. You see, yeah, this is the problem, is I rant and I ramble and I lose track of my thoughts. And yeah, these videos are kind of unprofessional. I don't really write a script or follow a fucking script, and you don't like that, well, too bad. But, oh, what was I saying? I'm so fucking exhausted. Look what I have to do. I have to clean. Anyways, yeah, beta male problem. Nah, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's the weed that does that, where sometimes you can't talk right. Because marijuana makes you stupid. It's true. Over time. But it quells all the obnoxious thoughts and sensations going through my head and all that stuff. I find when I do smoke weed, I get creative thoughts. I get these sort of ideas, or these ideas, I'm basing it off of all, again, I reiterate that it's stuff all other thinkers and people have talked about before. I'm not saying anything new. I'm just saying and putting it into my own words. What other people have said. Man, I'm exhausted. Man, I'm tired. But anyways, yeah, beta male problem. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. So you also had arranged marriages, right? And you also had religion, right? Say early Buddhism is a good example, where if you were a beta male, if you couldn't alpha up, so to speak, if you couldn't provide for a woman and the babies, then you would be given the chance to say, well, okay, if you can't or won't or don't want to play that game, you can go pursue the spiritual path. That essentially, because of our innate disposability, that's why men could go off and do all sorts of other things, whereas women, their very identity, their very physiological being is tied with this whole reproduction thing. It's like you're a failure as a woman if you can't have a kid or don't have a kid. And so women, although they would say, yeah, it was patriarchy and they were suppressed, which is accurate, they didn't have to go out and work. They didn't have to go out and do the high risk stuff. They didn't have to go be coal miners. I remember seeing this mining video about sulfur mines in Italy, right? And all the men had to go into the mine naked. Well, at some level, we would be offended, really offended, if women had to do that. If women were in the sulfur mine naked, their tits wobbling and flapping everywhere, and slaving away in a coal mine, we would be horrified by that, right? But we don't care because of beta male disposability. Other way I've noticed our disposability is like our yeah, sorry for these pauses, but oh yeah, vasectomies and birth control options like that. We're much more readily willing to give males vasectomies and stuff than we are willing to give women tubal litigation. Because again, of that innate disposability, there's just so many men, there's just such a surplus. One penis can inseminate multiple vaginas. Well, we got enough penises. If we sterilize a few, we don't really give a shit. And so you had, in our reproductive history, the male sex drive is to basically just find them and fuck them and spread the seed as much as possible. We crave sexual variety. Women crave variety, but it's a different kind of variety. It's like every 3 to 4 years, they eventually get bored with a partner and they do the whole pair bonding thing, but it's again to have the babies. And so they're attracted to that social status. They're attracted to the provider. So to say that a woman is strictly attracted to alpha males is not true. Women are fundamentally more dynamic. And again, they're always looking for what's in it for them, as are men, of course. And so they're going to look for the guy that's going to be the provider, that's going to maybe pay the bills. And of course, we've had women go out into the world of work, and feminism maybe got them the gain of that. They too can now go out and get dead-end jobs, but they're never really going to get anywhere doing it, again, because of that whole, we won't allow them to take the riskiest jobs. We won't allow them to do the sulfur coal mine thing. And unfortunately, those kind of jobs are what pay the most, right? So that's sort of the ceiling, is that risk factor, that disposability. So anyways, what was I saying? Yes, so men, we spread the seed, and all these institutions are all artificial anyway. Our innate drive as a man is to basically wipe your dick on them and leave, walk away, because you would have been hunting and gathering. So we weren't meant to do this whole, have a couple and be in love and hold hands and walk in the park. That's all bullshit. That's all societal construction, brainwashing and programming, incentivizing you to basically play a bullshit game. No, it's our attractions to each other are very superficial. Like, I've had women interested in me because I'm tall, deep voice, mainly the tall thing, which are superficial. Listen to me speak. See, it's the weed. Superficial level, lower level alpha characteristics. But again, they get bored with that. Women do get bored with an alpha male. Once they realize, yeah, the alpha male's not interested in being exclusive or being monogamous or playing any of those games, they'll go for a guy that's more beta, that's going to buy them a diamond ring, that's going to do all that stuff for them, and then they're going to get bored with that too. But fundamentally, our society is dealing with the breakdown of all these institutions that, again, they worked. Were people happier? No, but it was functional, right? The beta male was an unattractive slob that women basically were not attracted to, didn't give a shit about them. He got his gratification, she got her security, she got her providership. Everybody had their role, everybody had their place. And so our civilization is in decline because of the death of those two institutions. The institution of lifetime marriage, which is, again, there's all sorts of statistics of divorce rates being in 60-70% range, mostly initiated by women, strangely. And And so death of that, death of lifetime marriage, and the death of lifetime employment. And so we're dealing with the consequences. We're dealing with all the frustrated, pathetic beta males that realize they're playing a game they can't win. They can't win it genetically. They're not going to win. They're losers. And so you have this surplus. You have all this toxic beta male masculinity, which is corrosive, and it is what's destroying the planet. Like I could go into another example, say that China. Why does China have as many problems? Not just overpopulation, patriarchal society that places a higher value on the male, which is again ridiculous, as I've said, because of the innate biological disposability of men. That's what makes their society as toxic as it is. All the pollution, all the competition, all of that. Too many beta males, not a good thing. And so whenever there's too many beta males, that's when there's a war, because we got to get rid of these surplus penises that we don't need. We don't need all that seed. We need more incubators, less seed, if you understand. Like I said, just like a botanist, biological level, that's the game that's going on. That's the game we're trapped in. We have hunter-gatherer needs and wants trapped in a civilization. And those hunter-gatherer needs and wants, again, they don't build civilization. So it's kind of a contradiction, and we're dealing with the fallout from all of that. And there's not a fix, but my fix is simply, again, I use it just as another thing to reinforce antinatalism. So that terrible tragedy that happened, and I know it's old news now, the guy that ran over all those people at Eaton Center in Toronto, like I said, it's only a tragedy if you're part of the natalist board cube. If you, again, view that as so important, I would just suggest, antinatalism. The game is broken and the game's stupid. And you're being sold a lot of fairy tales and a lot of bullshit. And perhaps things would be better if we acknowledged our truer biological primitive nature, but even then, to revert back to that was not a good game. It was not a good game at all anyway. So the game we're playing, I guess the only redeeming thing about it is you and I, we get to choose to create our own world. We don't have to follow the values of this, like I call it a board cube, but you get to choose what game you get to play, right? There's none of this tradition shit matters anymore, following the script. The script is bullshit. The script is whatever suits the needs of the industrial economy. So, right, you get to make your own world. So you're an outcast, you're disaffected, whatever. You can at least make your own world. You can go live in your own fantasy land. And a lot of these problems, I guarantee you, with between the battle of the sexes, the incels, all this shit, I think it's going to go away once we get more of this sex robot blow-up doll technology. In all seriousness, that for the very first time in human history, we have these sex robots that people are balking at and joking at, and oh, how pathetic and creepy. And on a certain level, it is kind of pathetic and creepy. But for the first time, Joe Beta male that doesn't have a clue with women and doesn't even understand the game he's in or what's going on or what the hell he's playing or playing for, will have the opportunity to have sex with something that is practically indistinguishable from the real thing. So what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, all these, the entitlement of a select class of women, the women that are deemed attractive by society, will vanish overnight. There'll be no more of this rich millionaire goes to a woman and buys her virginity for $1 million. No more expensive fancy dinner dates on the first date when you don't even know the person. No more of all this dancing around and getting their ass kissed. It will be like the birth control pill. It will be the second sexual revolution. And then women are going to see they're threatened by it because sex has been the only realm of power they've ever had. That's the only place they're really running the show. Otherwise, for the most part, yes, it's men running the show in the politics and economic sphere. But again, that's, like I said, due to the beta male problem, the level of competition to get the social status, to get the mates. And it's pretty shitty. I view it as also transparent, but like I said, that the pathway is, I've drawn on the religious traditions is, I'm not celibate, I jerk off, but yeah, wear a condom and like I said, following tradition and being stuck into that traditional mindset is stupid. All of that's all gone the way of the dodo bird already. We're just dealing with the fallout and repercussions of it, the decline. And I didn't write the script. I don't want things to be this way. I never asked for any of this. And I guess, you know, there's going to be some growing pains, and it's a shame all these people have to suffer and die, but that's going to be the new order of things. You know, that's my view. And sort of, well, I guess I'll confide. I've purchased, I haven't purchased a sex robot, but there's a discount on Alibaba. I wanted to try one of these blow-up dolls, so I bought one. $500, silicone. I know it's just jerking off, and that's all it is. It's just jerking off. But I look at most of our culture, the casual dating hookup culture, which I think is sort of overblown. I don't think as many people are actually involved in that culture as they like to make it seem. I think it's actually a sign that people aren't getting any sexual gratification at all. The more sex is talked about, the more booty you see on billboards and stuff is a sign that people aren't getting any. In the 1950s, when people were getting laid and having babies all over the place, you didn't see all that stuff. And not because it was the conservative 1950s, it was because people were sexually satisfied. And so there's a dissatisfaction. Anyways, what was I saying? Yes, I always go on these off tangents, but yeah, I've decided to try that. And again, it's just jerking off. But I view, like I said, most of the culture, this is what I was about to say, is it's all jerking off anyway. A lot of this dating, relationships that last a year or 2 years, and you get to know the other person. None of it's long term. Your marriage will end in divorce, and you know, once you've had those serious emotional relationships, and I've had a couple of them. Again, I've never had a relationship last over 2 years with anybody, and it sort of made me fed up. I don't want to play anymore, emotionally speaking. All those lovey-dovey emotions, and when you realize it's a utility value equation, when you realize it's a social status game, when you realize all these things that I've already talked about, you lose. I've kind of lost interest in it, but that doesn't stop my penis from saying, hey, I want some. And yeah, I don't really want to use a woman or wipe my dick on them and walk away. That's kind of rude. So yeah, I'll just go off in the corner and jerk off. But I lament that I'm weak and that I have to do that. I wish I could be like a Buddhist monk and choose to be celibate and overcome. Although I am celibate, I'm what you'd call a voluntary celibate. I'm not interested in playing the game, the romantic game. I do the minimum that I have to do because I can't face up to dying, and I participate, and I do have ambitions, and I do have things that I enjoy. But yeah, I think if I had been born, say 200 years ago, I would have been a monk or something. I would have joined one of these beta orders, some kind of Buddhist, some kind of priest, something like that. But as I've said before, the times make the man, not the other way around. And so here I am, a pseudo-intellectual on the internet. Yeah, I said enough of an incoherent rant here. I've been going on for 23 minutes or so, and blah 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 blah. Not my best video. I'm here at work, wearing my, dirty safety vest that I need to wash, and scheming and thinking of what I'm going to do in the future. I applied to join the Army, but I'm probably not going to get in because of my medical situation. My sinuses and my lungs are all fucked. And I'm taking some real estate courses and going to try and use the nest egg of money that I have in the bank to do something, but merely just to provide myself with comfort so that I don't have to, break my back and kill myself cleaning and doing stuff and kill myself for a job that can replace me 5 minutes after I die. I don't want to do that while I'm alive. I want to be comfortable, and again, facing up to that cliff, so to speak, is quite hard to do. So again, I still do participate, but most of this game, yeah, I'm fed up with it. Like the romance game, yeah, I don't really want to play anymore. So yeah, I've gone off enough. I'm going to make another video about the Oedipus complex at some point too, and some other videos coming about, growing marijuana and stuff. So stick around for that shit, and yeah, follow my channel and all that. And Philosopher Stoner 666 out.